Welcome to The Connection, a weekly radio program where we share our experiences and expertise with stories of caring, courage, and change right here in Connecticut. Listen to learn about needed resources to improve your well-being and transform your life. Now, here are the hosts of The Connection, Lisa DeMatteis-Lepore and Ann Baldwin.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of The Connection. As you just heard, I'm Ann Baldwin, one of the hosts of the show, and I've got a special guest host today. You've had her here before, and she always does a great job. Beth Connor, who's the Chief Administrative Officer for The Connection, is filling in for Lisa DeMatteis-Lepore today. And Beth, it's always great to have you along. How are things going for you?
Thanks, Ann. Great. This is always a pleasure. Good morning.
Good morning. So you just had your charity golf tournament a couple of weeks ago, and
we did.
I had the opportunity to play in that. It was just such a beautiful day and just such a great event, and we all got goodie bags. I always love golf tournaments where you get the goodie bags. I could have used a sleeve of balls because I think I lost more balls playing golf that day than I ever have in my unprofessional golfing career. But anyway, one of the highlights of the goodie bags was the Bigelow Tea that came in there. And I got to tell you, it was so great. You know, we got some samples of Bigelow Tea. And then, of course, that didn't last long. So what's the first thing I got to do is go out and refresh my Bigelow Tea. So it's now replaced my coffee. And I know you have a cup in front of you this morning.
I do. I love this ginger and peach herbal tea. And I'm a tea drinker anyway and love to try new teas. This tea just starts my day the right way. It's just awesome.
Well, and you know, Bigelow's really become a household product, a household name, I think, for all tea drinkers. And when you told me that you have arranged to have Cindy Bigelow on, who is the third generation president and CEO of what is so important to me, family-owned Bigelow Tea, I said, oh my gosh, what an honor this is going to be, not only for us, but for our listeners. So why don't you do the honors, Beth, because you did all the hard work behind this in introducing Cindy.
Well, we're thrilled to introduce Cindy to the program today. And as you mentioned, Ann, Bigelow Tea has been a staple in Connecticut for many generations. There's lots of history, and we're really looking forward to learning more about not only the products, but the history and Bigelow Tea's commitment to Connecticut and our communities. It's really an inspirational organization, and Cindy, you're an inspiration, and we're really looking forward to hearing more about what your company does and some of your new products and what you do for the community.
Good morning to both of you ladies, and it's an honor for me to be on this, but I'm so excited that you had our tea in your goodie bag. That makes me very happy.
It's very good, I got to tell you, and I think probably everybody out there knows the brand. So, Cindy, I mean, it's been just, as I read all the history on your website about Bigelow Tea, where you've come and how far, and the fact that, this has gone on for generations. You're third generation president and CEO, and you're right here in Connecticut. And it says, too, that you're the U.S. market leader of specialty teas, that you produce over 2 billion tea bags a year. That's incredible. So
a lot of tea.
Wow. So what is the third generation of Bigelow up to these days?
Well, first of all, we're very proud that we are the number one specialty tea, and as a 100% family-owned and operated company, that's a big deal because our competitors are huge. All the other tea companies that are in the top tea companies are billion-dollar businesses that are involved with way more things than just tea. So it is our commitment is to tea, and our passion is for tea, and so it is something we're proud of. And this is a great little business. It's a blessing for me to run it as a third generation. It was started by my grandmother in 1945. She was actually an interior designer, and my grandfather was in publishing, and they lost everything during the Depression, and they kind of, after many, many years, put themselves sort of back together by creating a food business that they started to focus on tea. And little would they know today where we are in the position we are and the strength we are in this category. And, I owe it all to them and then my parents for what they did.
That is
And you
awesome.
took over, Cindy, in fairly recently.
Yeah, I've been with the company for over 35 years, but I started when I was 6. And, okay, I didn't start when I was really 6, but I started running the organization in 2005 as the CEO and president. So 15 years in this position.
You know, teas are sort of, they've come into their own again as a popular drink. And I think with the, with water being popular again to drink and designer water, teas have really come into their own. So what can you tell us about the market and your products and how they've evolved over the years?
Well, I have to say I'm so fortunate to be in it because it's such a healthy product, right? You're basically drinking the brew of a vegetable, let's be honest. It's a botanical. It's a plant. So whether you're drinking green tea, black tea, or herbal tea, you're drinking the brew of this botanical. And they're so healthy for you. So we've always been very proud of what we're in, and I agree with you 100% that people are really noticing that this is something they can put in their body that is just good for them, whether it's good for their emotional state, it's good for their physical state. And I'll tell you, during this very, very trying months when COVID really hit the country by storm, people really turned to tea as a comfort beverage for them, and multiple cups a day. We heard over and over they were drinking coffee, and now they're drinking only tea, or they were drinking some tea, now they're drinking much more tea. So it really was something, I was very excited that the business we were in that's so healthy was really there during people's and still is, there for people during this difficult time.
And you just recently launched a new line, a Bigelow Botanicals Cold Water Infusion line, and it's exactly what you're talking about. It's herbs, it's fruits, it's no calories, it's no caffeine. So talk a little bit about how that came to be, and it also comes in a lot of flavors. So that's exciting, and that's a real interesting new launch as well.
Well, we're very excited about our botanical launch, and really the inspiration came from really just seeing, I travel a lot for my business, or I did. Obviously, with COVID, traveling has changed. But you'd go into a hotel, and you would see these beautiful dispensers of different waters. They would have mint or cucumber or watermelon. And I used to love them, and I would experiment with each one, and I would combine them. And I found myself drinking more water and loving this sort of refreshing, gentle taste profile that the fruit or the vegetable, whatever they were using, was in. And that's what really inspired the line. How can we take the convenience of a tea bag and put it into a cold water and give the consumer or the tea drinker that same experience? And so we embarked on Bigelow Botanicals, and we came up with 5 fantastic flavors. And that's exactly what you do. You take the tea bag, you put it in your cold water, and you just watch it infuse. And anywhere from, it depends on how you like the flavor, 3 to 8 minutes. I actually like it a little bit lighter. So after like 4 or 5 minutes, I'll leave the tea bag in there, and I'll drink whatever those ounces are that I put in. And I then put in more water with the same tea bag. So I've just found that I really started to enjoy drinking water, which I'm supposed to do, but I don't like it. And it's just been fantastic. So it's convenient, it's healthy, it's inexpensive. I mean, what is it, 15 cents a tea bag to take regular water and infuse it? So it's just, we're very excited about this project.
That's great. And when is it set to launch, Cindy?
It just launched. It just is hitting the shelves today. So really, starting in August is when it was starting to be seen. So, yeah. And, of course, you can get it online as well. And we've had great sales on our website here with the botanicals. So if that's any indication, we're one very excited family tea company.
And if you're just tuning in, we're speaking with Cindy Bigelow. She is the 3rd-generation president and CEO of family-owned Bigelow Tea. And she just mentioned that you can order this tea and all their products on their website, which is Bigelow Tea, BIGELOWTEA.com. We wanted to make sure that people have that information and can jot it down before time runs out. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I was just wondering, product development, you must have a very creative team. Every time I see different teas coming out in the stores and I'm shopping, I say, wow, what a great combination. Do you do all of that here in Connecticut?
Yes, we absolutely do. We have a great team. So we have what we call innovation meetings, and in these innovation meetings, these things percolate, Beth, for a while, right? These are not just like you come up with an idea and you launch it. And so in these meetings, we have, really different levels of engagement with some of our projects. So some of our projects are really, looking at 5 years out. Other projects we're looking at what's going to be for next year. But, we're really looking at so many different categories, not just what's in the tea category. We like to be a leader, right? And so we want to see what's working for other categories. What's working in the supplement, what's working in other beverages, what's working for fruits and vegetables, what's working for recipes that are popular right now. So where are people turning to for health? What is something that's important to them? We were the first one to put probiotic into tea because I said, this is really important. Probiotic is so good for you, but it's important, Beth, you put the right amount of probiotic to have some value.
Sure.
So, and that's the integrity of the Bigelow name. So we've been very, very, very excited about our launches. And I think you mentioned you were drinking ginger peach. We just launched that. It is one of the most successful launches we've ever had is our ginger peach.
It is delicious, I have to say, and it is soothing. I was just telling one of my colleagues here in the office that I start my morning every day with this ginger peach, and it calms me, it relaxes me, it gets me ready for my day, and it's just a great way to start. I love all of your teas, but what's your most popular tea in your line? What do you think folks buy most? What flavors tend to be more popular with folks?
Well, our top flavors are our lemon ginger with probiotic, which has just been such a home run. It actually, believe it or not, is the number one tea sold in the United States of America. Of all specialty teas, it is the number one. We also are very blessed to have the number one black tea with our Earl Grey, which is the real oil of bergamot from Calabria, Italy, which I visited. It's an organic oil, fantastic. We have the number one green tea in the United States. It's a smooth, sweet taste. And we have the number one herbal tea with our chamomile, our cozy chamomile. It's got almost like a honey, sweet flavor to it. It is absolutely beautiful. And, it's just, I think as the consumer, first of all, they want to relate to a company, right? A company that does good work, that they can trust. But also it does, and I love when I say this, it boils down to the cup, right? You're talking about that flavor of the ginger peach. We have to deliver that amazing cup every single time. And not just better than the competition, it has to be exceptional.
And Cindy, you talk about doing good things in the community, and you do that. Talk a little bit about your commitment to community. I know that you often speak to folks, you speak to students, you speak to industry leaders, talking about leadership, talking about marketing, talking about giving back to the communities that you're in. Why is that such a passion of yours?
How I even got involved with doing stuff in the community wasn't even, I like to say, even that strategic. It started over 30 years ago. We actually had an employee that's son had been hit by a car and died, and he was in the high school in Norwalk, and I was looking at this man who worked across from me, and I was like, wow, what can we do? What can we do for this man? And I said, why don't we try to at least raise some money for a scholarship at the local high school in this young man's name? So we started this road race over 30 years ago, and, it's just something that we started doing year after year after year, and we've put almost $2 million now back into the community, plus there's so many other things that we've gotten involved with, and it just really, it's springboarded from that idea to how could we help a coworker in need to, how do we make this part of our DNA? And it's such a beautiful part of Bigelow. People understand when you work here, we want you to give back. The expectation is that it's going to be part of what you do every day. And it's the same thing with the environment. If you can make a difference, you should make a difference. And you can do small steps. Small steps over many, many years really add up. So we're very, very proud of the fact that just giving back to the community is really who we are, and we're very proud of the Bigelow Tea Community Challenge, which this year is going to be virtual for the first time, which is understandable, but a little sad for me because I love the camaraderie in the community. It's over 1,000 people. But I think everyone in a leadership position especially, you can make a difference. You should be trying to make a difference. You have that opportunity, and you cannot let that opportunity not be used to its fullest. you've been given a gift in a leadership position to make a difference, not just for the people that you work with on a day-to-day basis, but also the community around you.
Absolutely. And this Bigelow Tea Community Challenge takes place on Sunday, September 27th. Tell us a little bit about the event. I know it is virtual this year. The virtual starts at 10 o'clock. So how is it working this year? We, at The Connection, just had a virtual road race ourselves. I was talking with Jamie, who works with you, about it, and it was a whole new event. It worked and it was successful, but it was just a whole way of thinking of event planning. So tell us a little bit about your plans for your successful event this year.
Well, you're so on the money with this. It is such a different way. I mean, I do know that the Bigelow Tea Community Challenge is successful because people love that space. They love to get there. They love the environment. They love the energy, the music, the food, the raffle. So now it's very different. So, one of the things that has always been very good for us is we have a huge goodie bag filled with wonderful things. And we design, I think, really nice T-shirts that are very wearable, very, very soft, so people love those. So, the big draw is if you continue to support us, you're going to get that fantastic goodie bag. You're going to get that great T-shirt. But now we're asking you to do either a 5K run or a 3K walk, or, have a little fun run with your kids and partake. So it's interesting because I'm also part of events in the community that I've always gone to, and now I'm also doing it virtual. And I know for me, because of our event, I am definitely going to do those other events virtually because I know how hard it is to get people to do it. So we've got a great group of people. Jamie is one of the ones you were just talking about who's really helping drive the race, as well as a team of other wonderful people. And we just want to raise money. We want to be able to give back. The needs are significant now more than ever, and we want people to really just let's just do it. Let's just do it, even if we're not doing it together.
Right, and we found actually there are some hidden benefits of having a virtual race. You can attract a wider audience. So not only people in your immediate community, but you can attract folks that wouldn't necessarily travel to the road race in past years.
You know what? That's a great point. We're definitely trying that as well. And we have 3 facilities. We have our Fairfield, we have Boise, Idaho, Louisville, Kentucky. And we're saying, you can now all participate in this event. So you're so right on that. That is definitely something that we really hope we can really, establish a relationship with those outside of this community to be involved.
So where can people go to sign up?
You can also go right onto bigelowtea.com and you can sign up for the road race right there. So that website you gave before, bigelowtea.com, besides being able to buy the botanicals or the ginger peach you were talking about, or many of the other flavors, you actually sign up for the Bigelow Tea Community Challenge.
And again, that's September 27th. And you can also do it on your own time. You can do it when it's convenient for you. Just meet the obligation and have some fun with it. And that's kind of where our world's going to be for a while. So why not adjust to it and keep supporting these great organizations? Because that's really, like you said, what it's all about. Cindy, one other question. When you go out and speak to folks, I know you're not a quote unquote inspirational speaker, but I'm sure you're very inspirational. What advice do you give to folks? Kind of what's your key message?
Well, it really does depend on the audience, but and what they're asking me to speak on. But I know for me, I really always, no matter what I'm speaking on, have the mission to use the word you said, to inspire, to try to do the best that you can, to inspire yourself to recognize that you can do so many things, that you're able to really make a difference in this world. You can do good work. You shouldn't have to compromise on what you think is important to you. You can recognize whatever those values are that are important to you and try to live them every day. So that's a common theme that you will see, that when people finish, they feel good about themselves. And I remember one time I was speaking in Boston at a CEO conference, and these young women came up to me after the conference, and they said to me, "You know what you did for us when you were speaking?" And I said, "No." And they said, "You made us believe that we can." And I go, "You can?" He goes, "Yeah, we can. We can do what you're doing. We can aspire to be a CEO. We can aspire to run. We can aspire to lead. You made us feel like we can." And I thought, what better compliment could anybody get than you made people feel like we can make a difference. So that's always what I try to do when I'm speaking.
What an empowering message. I think that's just awesome. And I think you've been a shining example of it, taking your family's company and, leading it into this century. What an inspiration.
Thank you. You know what? We all can make a difference, and it's just about trying. It's all about trying. And if we just try to make a difference, if we try to think about the greater good, if we try to think about others, it comes back in double and triple and quadruple. I'm always saying we've got to remember we're part of a community, and we need to be conscious of the community. So I think it's a message that we really need to challenge ourselves to say how else, whether it's in your neighborhood, how do you make sure you're thinking about being a good neighbor? Whether you're living in your community, how am I a good community member? And I think that, for me, I've just tried to live my life like that. My parents were my role models. And it's really, truly how I live my life and how I try to run the company.
But it takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of commitment. You think about, CEOs, and you think about running a company, and you've got family, and you've got all these things on your plate. How do you juggle and keep all these balls in the air, Cindy? It's got to be challenging for you personally.
Well, I will start off by saying God was very good to me on the energy field. I thank God. I mean, really, thank God. And I think another thing besides being very fortunate with good energy is that I'm very good at compartmentalizing, which I think is also very important. And I'm not to say that, men don't and women do, but I do know that women, for the most part, are very good at compartmentalizing. And so I know that if I'm going to be focusing on having dinner with my kids, that's my focus. When I'm in the office, that's my focus. When I'm doing something in the community. So I'm giving my all at every moment I'm in, and I'm scheduling them. I'm making sure I schedule, whether it's speaking or giving back to the community or spending time with the employees or working on strategy. So I try to schedule. I'm very good at compartmentalizing. I have good energy, and it helps me so that I make sure something like family doesn't fall to the bottom. Family needs, in my opinion, I want family to stay at the top. So, for example, my son and his fiancée had come home as a surprise, and they were going to be leaving this morning. I cleared my calendar to make sure that I was there this morning with them. And now I'll work later this evening, or I'll fit in the hours at other times to do what needs to be done. But I never want my family to ever feel secondary. So those are kind of the tools that I tell people to use. We can all schedule. We live by our phones, so make sure you schedule quality time, doing the things that are important to you. And if that means working out, make sure you fit in an hour or two every week to work out as well. So that's how I try to do it. But you're right. There's never enough hours in the day.
I know. Well, I got to tell you.
Easy.
No, I got to tell you, Cindy, this has been an inspirational conversation. We're not just talking about Bigelow Tea. We're not just talking about flavors. We're really talking about the flavor of life, right? And I don't know about you, Beth, but I'm going to take just what Cindy just said, and I'm going to apply it to my life because there's some really good tips in there. I just can't tell you what a pleasure it's been to have you on this program. Again, if people are interested in your event on September 27th or any of your products, go to bigelowtea.com, because as we just heard in this conversation, you're not only supporting the product, but you're supporting your community, you're supporting a family-owned business, and you're supporting a business that has a vision and a mission. And we don't always see that in these big corporations, and you're not that. So that is just, it's fantastic. Thank you.
I want to thank you, Ann and Beth, for even allowing me to be part of your program, because believe me, this is how we can get the message out. So you're very kind, and we really appreciate it here. Trust me.
And I hope that our listeners enjoyed this conversation as much as we did. We want to thank you for tuning in to this edition of The Connection right here on WTIC News Talk 1080.